Liberals are freaking out about tariffs. I'm just a kid, and I even know that tariffs can be very good for an economy.
I'll tell you, I love a kid who gets involved in politics. Don't love a kid so much when he's fed incorrect information and then asked to do a video about it. This is the second thing he has to say, and then I'll come back.
Did you know that Andrew Jackson, the only president to pay down the national debt, did it using zero income tax and having only tariffs?
So I'm gonna interrupt your video and provide some clarity about what's clearly misinformation. And I'm going to show you why, so stay with me. Now, it's true that Andrew Jackson wiped out national debt in 1835, and he did so with no income tax. There wasn't one at the time. He did it with 2 rounds of tariffs, one in 1828 and one in 1832. And you might have not been told this, but you have to consider a few facts. Number one, paying down federal debt in 1828 was a little easier than today because at the time, in today's money, the federal debt was $1.9 billion. Just to give you a frame of reference, today's budget for the DoD is over $770 billion. And speaking of budget, even running the government was a little cheaper at the time because it cost on average $400 million a year in today's money. Number two, a lot of the money that Jackson used came from selling public land, which was very heavily sought after because of settlers' activities. Not such a hot activity nowadays. 3, we have to talk about the effects that tariffs had. Because I continue seeing videos from people pushing tariffs without having a clue about the devastating effects that historically tariffs have had on our country. And just like any other time in our history, the Jackson tariffs, well, they didn't do so hot. Exactly like the McKinley tariffs a few years later, the Jackson tariffs had some mixed short-term effects and some devastating long-term effects. The first round of tariffs, remember in 1828, they economically depressed the southern states and led to what's known as the nullification crisis, which eventually led to the Civil War. But even more importantly, the 2 rounds of Jackson tariffs are pretty universally considered to have contributed, if not caused, what's known as the Panic of 1837. Another name for it is the Depression. So a good try on your part. You did memorize your lines. Next time, make sure you ask Dad to dig a little deeper.